Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the final module of our amazing reparenting course, the course that is designed to heal your inner child. It's a beautiful healing journey that we've been on the past few months. And I'm so happy and honored that you decided to take this wonderful, beautiful journey with me as we learn something new about every single part of who we are, our past, our present, and of course, that will inevitably bring forth the future that we envision for ourselves as we are healing, as we are working through, as we are forming connections with our inner child, inner adults, inner parents, as we foster connections with our inner mother parent and inner father parent figures. And I am very humbly honored to welcome you to the last module, which will be a culmination of everything we have been learning so far. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the module number 5, which we call Individualion. I'm going to share my presentation with you as usually, and let's start going. Let's start understanding what is this module about. The module 5 is a culmination of the previous 4 modules, as we will be discussing the process of what individuation is. Individuation is what brings us to live as successful adults. It can be a duality process, though. It is a duality process because as we are carving our pathway to individuation, we are also trying to figure out who we were from the time of conception. In our case, also in Module 1, we went before that. We figured out our soul mission. We talked about, we looked at our soul before before we came to this journey of ourselves. And as we explored each and every step, as we went from conception to adulthood, where we are here, we're all adults here. And it's interesting, as we faced each stage of personal development, we also noticed that with them, there are many traumas and painful experiences, painful memories have arisen. And we work with that in each module. Individuation is the process by which an individual becomes distinct. Individuation is what distinguishes you from everyone else. The root of the word individuation is individual, which of course is a good clue to the meaning of what individuation is. It's about becoming an independent, separate entity. It's about going through the growth process. In the previous modules, that's what we explored. We explored the going through the growth process that consisted of 3 major levels, okay? The 3 levels are physical connection, psychological connection, and separation. Physical connection is when our parents, that's from the time of conception, when our parents were providing everything and anything. First our mother, then of course our father came in after the birth. But everything, well, actually even before the birth, right? We talked about it, the mother and the father is a union. Both contribute to the well-being of the child's survival necessities, food, clothing, shelter, school. And we have psychological connection. That's the next level. Parental values, nurture, love, emotional and mental bonding. And then we have separation. In separation, it's important to know that the sudden disruption of connection to the separate, or, when the separation is done just one way, when the child just leaves home and the mother is not ready to let go, or the father, the parents are not ready, when separation is done only one way, from a child's perspective or from a parent's perspective, right? it doesn't contribute to the complete and harmonious separation. Sudden or forced separation actually blocks the completion of the separation process. Separation is a psychological term for the healthy and time-appropriate separation of a child from a parent, primarily from the mother figure. This psychological stage is the way to end dependency that the child demonstrates upon the parental. Again, we talk about primarily mother, but it can be both. This dependency, over-dependency on the parental figure. That would be the clue to how a person can go and complete their journey on their own as adults and become successful adults, right? Because that's what truly, I think the goal of every single one of us while we're here. We want to be successful adults. We don't want to be just adults. We don't want to be just a professional. We want success. We're looking for success, whatever it may mean to each one of us. We're going to discuss this later. That may mean different things to each one of us. But the word success is an important, integral part of who we are as adults. The person goes through the following stages of separation throughout their life, okay? The first stage is before birth, right? That's the stage before the separation. And then, of course, the primary separation is the birth time. Then there is 3-year-old crisis, the 5 years crisis, the 7 years crisis, and then there's puberty. Let's discuss each stage specifically, just for you to get a full understanding of what the separation involves. The before birth, right? The very first stage of separation is the before birth, right? We know that. The child has the same physicality as the mother. The child actually grows. The fetus is within the mother's womb. The mother and the child are connected by an umbilical cord, and the child is an extension of the mother. Whatever the mother feels, the child acquires. Whatever the mother, whenever the mother is relaxed, the child is relaxed. If the mother is nervous or anxious about something, the child will acquire it. There is no choice on the behalf of the child whether he or she can acquire that. You just do it, it's done automatically. The primary separation, as we know it as birth, is a physical separation of the baby from the mother. The physical separation of the mother from the mother occurs at birth, and it continues up to the age of 3 years of old. The child is born, the child is physically separated. We know, especially this happens during the first year. The child continues to be close to the mother. The mother carries the child in herself. The mother gives her the breast to, again, continue this attachment, this connection to the baby. The mother carries the baby in her arms until a certain age, right? Did you ever go through a scene where you see a child sitting on somebody's lap and you're like, wow, aren't they too old to sit on their parents' lap? But it's so individual, it's so personal, right? And it again signifies the connection that the child needs, that connection needs to be on the parent's lap, right? Needs to have that physical connection. At about the age of 8 months, the child learns to crawl away from the mother. After a year, the child learns to walk and moves away from the mother, right? There's an actual physical, like, succession, proximity, you enter a different proximity at this point. The child starts walking around. The child starts testing, can he or she be physically, how far can they be physically away from the mother, right? And different children are different. Some children need to be in the same room with the mother because they need to have that physical connection. Some children are okay, like even wandering in a separate room, maybe not for long, but trying it out. At the age of 2, the child approaches and learns to run away, right? As children learn the process of running on a physical level, right? I worked with children enough to notice. I work with physical therapists a lot when the children learn. And it's interesting. Running is an interesting concept, interesting physical milestone for children. And it coincides with the mental maturity, emotional ability of a child to actually be okay with this kind of trial basis, right? This kind of game where the child will run away from the mother and the mother would catch up. Children, it's important to know that children learn how to run when they know that the mother will run after them or her. Children have a harder time learning to run when they have a harder time emotionally and mentally being aware that they can depend upon being caught on. That's an interesting, just a little note from me, okay? It's like a little metaphysical connection, right? That's what it is. Until the age of 3, the child is in the mother's field within the energetic. And when we talk about the field, we're talking about the energy field, the Hellinger constellation kind of term. The child is still mostly connected to the primary caretaker. In most cases, it's the mother. Nowadays, a lot of, as gender roles have been changing in the family situations, we know sometimes it becomes that the child the child is often taken care of by the father, right? Nowadays, sometimes, some families there is some understanding the mother works and the father, but still, if we talk about majority of situations, mother. And it's that connection we talked about it in module 3, module 2, that connection to the mother figure energy, right? The child's family field is determined by the mother's field, by the way the energy that the mother exudes on the child. The next stage is called the crisis of 3 years. And it's about the social setting development. This is the age when the child enters the family field. The child starts noticing not just the relation between her and the mother, sometimes also the father. We talked about it from the age of 2. The father enters the field. But it's a primary connection just to the parents. Around the age of 3, talked about it. Some children are more mature. They start seeing it from the age of 2.5. Some children are not emotionally ready for it, and they will notice it at the age of 3.5. But this is the time when the child becomes aware of other people in the family, siblings, extended family members, people outside of the family setting, friends, adult friends, children friends, neighbors, community members, right? To also bring forth this independence development, right? The child wants to do things by themselves. They say, no, I do it myself. And it kind of creates, and one of my friends said that it creates a challenge where I'm not ready, I'm letting go, right? But that's what it is. It may create the challenge with the relationship between independence and capabilities. But that's what it is. A child goes from I'm independent, and sometimes the child feels like I'm helpless. I need help. And it's this ability for this challenge bring forth the growth that the child needs necessary to understand. My parents are here. I can depend upon them. If I need help, I ask them for help and they give it to me physically at this point, right? But I can try to do things on my own. The child looks for balances and strengths, right? And if there's not enough strength, they ask the mother for help, they ask the father for help, right? The mother and the father are not available, they ask one of the family members, they start going further. This stage is significant in growth, learning to, starting to look and find your place in the social setting. This is the start. That continues further with the next stage, the crisis of 5 years. And this is about hierarchy and lessons of choice. At this point, this is a bit harsh reality, right? Because the child starts understanding that this is about the time when most settings in most countries, Western countries, children start going to school or preschool, enters the social, organizational social settings, okay? Where they have to learn hierarchy. There's a teacher, there's a principal who is higher than the teacher, but the teacher is still main in the classroom. In school, you have to follow the teacher. At home, you have to follow the mother and the father. They may be different. They may be the same. And one of the harsh realities that they face is that they realize they're not the center of the earth. It is not them who necessarily built the rhythm of the family. They start learning and understanding hierarchy. And in different families, they start understand family dynamics, right? In some families, mother has a higher hierarchy than the father. In some families, it's the opposite. Father is higher than the mother, right? And sometimes they understand that they work together, that there is unity. They actually consult each other. The children learn to adapt to the rhythm of the family. Until the age of 5, in a relatively healthy family, the rhythm of the child are the subordinated to the family, right? The parents get to decide when the child wants to eat, sleep, walk, play. By the age of 5, submission to children's rhythm subsides. Life is delayed. During this period, children actually, right, we know that nap time is over at the age of 5. Children begin to kind of protest, right? We talked about it at the age of 3. They say, I want to do it myself. I want to eat myself. I want to hold my own soup spoon. Yes, it's going to spill and it's going to make messy, but they want to learn to eat by themselves. At this age, at the age of 5, children start learning, understanding the rules that adults are making around them. And it's important for them to learn to obey those rules, to adapt to them, to obey to them. There's a difference, right? Adapting is maybe in a way agreeing it and kind of going with that flow. Obeying is maybe not necessarily agreeing, but you still go ahead because you know that's how it is. Children depend upon adults. They know they cannot be without it. It is during this period, the crisis of 5 years, that children learn to make choices. They face the consequences of their choices, and they learn to build cause and effect relationships. I take a cookie without permission, and mom find out, I may lose my device time. This is a very important crisis because if a child has difficulty pathing this crisis, the reason we're learning about stages is to start understanding if there is any stage that we didn't pass, we need to work on it, okay? If the child doesn't pass the stage, then the child will have lots of rages later on. Because, by the way, any of the stages will erupt, whatever the child didn't go through, will erupt through in teenage years, okay? In puberty. When the child does not learn to understand the hierarchy, it will be difficult for child to obey further on. They will have difficulty with their authority later on. When we talk about adult success, it's important to recognize the hierarchy and accept the rules of the game. The next stage is the crisis of 7 years. This is the structure of love and sexuality. And of course, by sexuality, we talk about gender identity. We discussed this in the previous module, right? By the age of 7, a child already knows their gender identity. They acquire the skill of being liked, or most of the time, the opposite of it, right? It's about this aspect where the child or the adult questions whether they're liked by others. That's a crisis. This is the stage it occurs on. Right? We talked about when we talked about structured formation, right? One stage was about using sexuality, using attractiveness as a way to build relationship with others. Is that how you build your relationship with others? It's about, those people who what? Flirt. They use flirting as a way to attract attention to themselves. And that's what it is. This is a part during this stage is where it was established. Are you able to use the fact that you are attractive, that you are liked, that you are wanted, you are loved? It's about, being able to move away and getting closer, going to school and coming back. Even when you're not at home, your mother still loves you, misses you. This ability, this connection, the skills of entering into positive or destructive alliances. Destructive alliances are the skills of being friends with one parent against the other. When a child sides with a mother, when the parents have disagreement, and the child will side with one parent against another. It's very dangerous because in a destructive alliance, the child loses the childhood place. It's about the fact that parents give and we receive. This is how life works. This is a rule of life. That's how energy processes from top to down. Parents are on top, we're on the bottom, we receive. Okay, we open the hands, they give it to us. And that's the idea. When a child enters a destructive alliance, when the child takes place or feels the necessity, sometimes I've seen that children are put in a place where they must choose between one parent. And that's where it becomes an issue. That's where it becomes a struggle. Because this is where energetically they create a lot of void and a lot of energy goes in there. And adults don't understand why can't they be successful because of this. Okay. Children need to be children. We need to feel. We need to feel this energetical spot where we have children and we have adults above us, father, mother. And we receive energy from the father and from the mother this way. And the last stage of the crisis of separation is the actual, I would say maybe like not a final stage, but yeah, developmental at the final stage. It's puberty, becoming teenagers. This is where the devaluation of parents occur. Teenager rebellion. It's necessary because this is the way they bring devaluation. This is how they learn to get away from the parents. Child develops a critical mass of what I take from the parents, right? You can go and watch the laws of family system laws. I have an open video about it. And it's about the law of balance. The one who takes more leaves the system. They start kind of evaluating everything they take. On some level, there is devaluation. Don't worry, you will get it back. Once they grow up, get married, have their own children, they will come back and say, I know why you did what you did. At this stage, it will be a bit devaluation. Because this is what's necessary in order for them to branch off from the parental family. The period of puberty ends in a healthy separation at the age of 22 to 24. Before this age, conflicts may arise, reconciliation which leads to rethinking of oneself. But the identity is forming. The person is no longer a mother's or father's daughter or son, but rather The person is an established adult with a formed identity. The person separates from the parents. The parents release this person into the world. The person lives in the world and carries the responsibility and the concern of personal, individual, and societal needs, right? We talked about it last week. The ability to form relationships is where this is formed. With healthy and harmonious separation comes successful adults. When parents can rejoice at children's successes, they trust that the child will cope with the difficulties and challenges of life. They rejoice when an adult child can devote attention and time to the parental family in his life. When the child separates, right? Young adults, they separate, they live their own time of their own. They're capable of coming, visiting the family, staying for a short period of time, and then leaving, right? That's a way healthy separation works. If separation is not completed appropriately, the person stays attached to the parents. Physically, the child continues to live with the parents. Energetically, the child is trying to earn money. And then something happens to the family. The mother may get sick. There's something will happen to the father. The child feels the connection that earning money is a way, one of the best ways to see how successful you can be as an adult. And they see energetically that there is still a connection. When they try to get successful as adults, they kind of pull back energetically, connected to their parents, right? Because when a parent, God forbid, becomes sick, children have to take care of them. Emotionally, parent looks around to see how mom and dad will emotionally react to his or her choices. A person is dependent upon the emotional reactions of one's parents. A true adult should be able to make their own choices without the necessity of thinking, oh, what would my mom say? What would my dad say? Of course, intellectually, a person living with parental attitudes, we talked about it. You need to learn at one point to reevaluate all your values and shed the parental values that you don't agree with. Keep the parental values that you would like to continue working within your life, adapt it further, kind of readapt it, and create your own value system, create your own view of the world, view of the way you want to live your life. That's an important part. The essence of separation is to leave the zone of the parental field and go into the open space. A lot of times separation does not occur because the person is stuck in the parental field. No matter how it is known and familiar in the parental field, getting out of this is like going out into open, cold space. Exactly what you see in the picture. It's like flying off the tree. Humans cannot fly on their own without planes, right? The final separation is leaving the field of understandable and familiar family into a cold, alien society. This includes separation anxiety, loneliness, and fear. Includes the final separation is a transfer of the state of fear and anxiety into a resource of independence, okay? We constantly, it's important for us to be aware of this emotional state. Yes, we will have fear, anxiety, but we will keep it as a way, we use it to kind of foster our independence, to kind of give ourselves resources, because we know our parents have our back. Our parents give us support and security as necessary. So the fear and anxiety doesn't overtake our life to the point where we are unable to go forward and bring forth choices that we want to make in life. The best, again, indication, I'm going to say it again, is money. How successful are you in earning money? learning to make choices, learning to choose strategies, and not overly dependent on parental advice, parental choices, parental guidance, but knowing that you have parental security and support, not necessarily like calling them every minute and asking them or relaying it with them. A healthy, separated person is capable of making decisions in solitude. A person can consult, a person can discuss, the person will make the final decisions within themselves. This person is not separated, the person did not translate the fear and loneliness into a resource of independence. This is very important to note. Everybody has some fear and anxiety about what's going to happen, but they use it as an energy to propel forward and come up with decisions. When a person is not capable to make decisions in solitude, they don't know how to choose. They don't know how to make choices. They have a reliance on their parents for making choices or providing physical or, an actual support. Like parents have to give them choices or advice. They must, they rely on parental advice to make choices. A true separation is when a person leaves a family, but the connection through which one can receive energy from parents still remains. There's a recognition of mom and dad, the merits of mom and dad, the separation of personal and, kind of, there's a personal, this is how it happened in our family, this is how it happens in other families. And then there is this recognition, the person goes into adulthood with gratitude. This is one of the major, by the way, major ways you will see that the person is gone through the separation and when there is an actual healthy adult gratitude for their parents. Not where I'm indebted to my parents because I don't have my own choice. I must do what they say because they gave birth to me. That's not gratitude. That's inability to be making choices on your own. Healthy gratitude is thank you for giving me life. Thank you for giving me the ability to know the difference between this and that. I don't want to say right or wrong because that's totally different, that's going into the value system. But understanding the ability for me to form my own value system and make decisions. Thank you to that for parents. Thank you for that to parents. When that connection is broken, when mom and dad become excluded and the process of merging and loyalty begins, this is not separation. When the person feels loyalty to the parent, that will be at the expense of their own family, at their own making their professional or personal choices. That's not true separation. That's not how individuation will take place. Important developmental concept that contribute to harmonious separation is this one of the major ones to start understanding what we learned in the previous modules. Mother leads to inner explanation and development. Father figure leads to outer exploration and development. The child understands that the child spent time with the father. It's a chance to see the world from a different masculine point of view. I want to specify what I'm saying here is not necessarily about gender roles or gender stereotypes, but rather a psychological and healthy way of living. Okay, the necessity to create the harmony, the way, even if you had traditional family where, the father, the male played the father role, the female played the mother role. I'm not going to go into that now. I believe that falls into your personal individual value system. You take everything I tell you and you put it through your own kind of filter of your value system. But it's about the idea of creating harmony. This is what we did in the last module, creating harmony between two parts of who you are, your masculine and your feminine part, creating a relationship between them, a union. And it's about the necessity for a parent to have, for a child to have both parents, both parental figures. Because spending time with a masculine, with a father figure, gives a chance to see the world from a masculine point of view. The mother figure gives a chance to give from a mother, feminine point of view, nurturing, building independence, building aggression, necessary, important aggression as a form of energy to go forth in life. Fathers are about more permission to do things like not to become overprotective with children, when children climb up, when the children learn how to, go on the bike, right? And it's about taking risk, taking a leap of faith, going forward with what you want to do, even if you're not sure you're going to be successful. That's a masculine energy. Feminine energy is, identifying with the fact that if you do fall down on your tushy, it's okay. I'm here to give you support. I'm here to give you a hug and say, it's okay. Sometimes we fall down, and it's okay to process that part. It's okay to process your failure. I teach my kids, one of my favorite saying is that from failure comes the best ideas. The best success stories came from failure. When people thought that they're going to do something, they want to achieve one thing in life, they don't, but then they create something new, something amazing. This is what it's about, learning to create a union between what you learned from a father, from a masculine point of view, and a mother, feminine point of view. Create a union, create a merger, so that when you need some nurturing and comfort and care, you have that within yourself, resources. When you need decisiveness, aggression, taking, just going forward, taking the leap of faith, so to say. Just go. Just believe, yes, you can achieve it. And if you don't achieve this, you will achieve something else, which will be just as beautiful. Learning to value the journey, which is more of a feminine energy, and the goal attaining, right? That's what it's about. It's important to note that during this developmental stages, a child who didn't get attention from the mother will constantly be looking for more attention, for more connection. And it's not just by the way the mother, it's both ways, the masculine energy and the feminine energy. They will have this void where they constantly need resourcefulness. They will constantly need this, they will need to be shown love. They will need to be shown, because the opposite is when a child receives lots of resources from the mother figure. You know what? I wrote here the mother figure. The truth is both mother and father figure. They will at one point get so full, they will be able to separate fully. They will be able to go further on a path of life. A healthy and age-appropriate separation stage, which occurs at the age 18 to 20, I would say up to the age of 22, 24 maybe, will bring about the ability to live a full, resourceful life based upon the inner resourcefulness and the way to connect to the outer resourcefulness as necessary. They will be able to build healthy relationship, build one's own family. They will be able to foster connection and the ability to build relationship with their own children, connecting the gap to the next generation. They will be able to make decisions and take responsibility for others, for another person, for another entity. They will be able to manage and direct one's life vectors and be responsible for the consequences of decision-making. Have the ability to be autonomous. Be ready for the separation in a healthy manner. One must successfully pass and complete the age-appropriate developmental stages. Okay, that's what we're doing in this module. Our objective is to kind of fill in the gaps. Although we did it during each previous module, we kind of go back and patch it up, fill it in, connect, fill in whatever void, whatever energy, holes that are sucking in all the energy. We will build it up. We will add, we will bring lots of resources there. It is proven that children who have had age-appropriate play development will complete each stage and go to the next if necessary. That's what we're doing. From an adult point of view, not the way we did it, where each module we worked with each stage. No, now we're going to kind of complete it. And thus become, ready to be responsible and psychologically ready to explore the world as adults. We're coming back to Erikson's psychological stages. And I want to bring your attention over here to the virtue, where it says virtue, right? In infancy, the goal is to develop hope. In the early childhood, from, age 1 to 3, their goal is to develop will. Between ages 3 and 6, the goal is to develop purpose. Between ages 7 and 11, the goal is to develop competence. Between ages 12 and 18, the goal is to develop fidelity. Between the ages of 19 to 29, right? This is when the separation occurs. The goal is to develop love, establishing intimacy and relationship with others. Middle ages, this is, I think, most of us here, maybe somebody already in the next one, but I think we're mostly here. Between ages 30 and 64, our job is care, contributing to society and being a part of the family, personal family, individual family, as well as family as the world, your community, your country, the world in general. And of course, old age is about wisdom, making sense of life, making meaning of the contribution. When we talk about being successful adults, what makes somebody successful? What are the components of success? Success is the ability to live your life, realizing your intention so that it would be possible to say to yourself, life is successful. Life was successful. For someone, life was successful will be expressed in financial achievement. For someone, in something else, a number of children, the family, relationships, the number of grandchildren, number of people gathering at festive tables, livestock they had, the number of, things they have. We all have our core values. That's what indicate the life values of success measurement. Components of successful separation that lead to individuation consist of the following. A quest for knowledge, then the burst of creativity. Number 3, mastering the rules. Number 4, the ability to obey hierarchy. Number 5, competition. Number 6, psychology of exchange, rules of money, personal movement strategies. Let's explore each one. A quest for knowledge is that when a person lives and is not interested in learning new things, it's not interested to live new experiences, to start new projects, to go to new fields to work, to go into their activities, they don't have this drive when they wake up and they're like, oh, I have a new project I'm interested in exploring. If a person doesn't have this internal state, success is kind of not coming forth. Curiosity, which is a precedent for a quest for knowledge, is included in the practice of my good place in the world, right? The child is saturated with the power of family, the power of the parent. The child has this impulse of curiosity. The child has this connection, this understanding that I hold an important role, I have an important place in this world. The person has an interest to go to the world. It's when a young adult feels that it's safe to turn one's back to the parents and go into a new adventure, starting new. When a child turns around and constantly looks at the parents, the focus is on the parents. It's hard for the child to focus. And I say child, yeah, child, to focus on the life ahead, on the possibilities, what could develop further on. Burst of creativity. This is what propels our life forward. When child develops an interest in doing something themselves, producing something, right? Creating. And creativity can be what we understand as art, can be some kind of project, anything they create, right? I don't want to be crude here. But even going to the potty, this is where it starts, by the way. When children start learning bowel movements, this is when they start understanding that they created something. Later on, it becomes into creating something that, they can show the others. Creating money, creating projects, creating solutions for business processes, creating solutions in managing people, creating actions to increase income. It's all about creativity. Creating a way to improve the way this world operates, improve the way the people live in this world. That's what it's about. When there's no contact with the creative part, when the inner child is very active, but the figures of the inner adult and the parents are weak, the effect is not fully obtained. Everything is interest, but when the inner child is very strong, you may notice that if you recognize that you start new projects, but you have a hard time completing them, then your inner child is very strong, but the inner adult, inner parents are somewhat weak. That's what you work with, okay? This is what we're going to do in this module. Allow you to harmonize the internal component to understand how you can achieve successful results in your projects. Mastering the rules. We talked about it. At the age of 5 years of old, the children start learning the skills of building rules and mastering them. Hierarchy, learning hierarchy, right? When we enter new projects, we get acquainted with the rules. We adapt them, we begin to act according to the rules. This applies to any community, any system, any society, from state to enterprises to businesses, right? When you create your own projects, it's like a game. It's effective. Every game has rules. You need to become familiar with the rules of the game. So you can adapt them, or you can do the opposite. First obey them, then you adapt them. Obeying them is you follow the rules. Adapting them is using the rules to maybe creating new ones, creating new ways of playing the game, right? Right? That's what it's about, becoming a lawyer, learning how to use the rules, the laws, to bring forward new ways of helping people. Mastering the rules and skills of interacting with customers, suppliers, employees, right? When you open up a business, when you have a team, when you have superiors, when you have somebody who's on top of you, who is lower than you, right? Your workers. And you learn how to adapt the rules. You learn about the success of the business and the activity. There is a category of people who cannot make the rules. When you hear them, it's like those people are like in the cage, right? You're kind of aware of it, but they're separate from it. Those people are always rebels, right? FYI, fire element birth, okay? They're constantly against everyone or against someone specific. They have a hard time understanding the rules to adopt. They have a hard time understanding that they need to obey the rules, they need to obey the hierarchy. And as a result, they have a hard time mastering the rules. A lot of times people would say, oh, look at, self-made millionaire, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, they're not like everyone else. They don't follow everybody else's rules. Yeah. Now they don't. But while they were learning to become who they are now, they had to follow rules. They did follow rules. Until they got to the point, right? The best example nowadays is, of course, Elon Musk, right? He's at the point where he makes his own rules, creates his own social settings. In order to get to that point, you must first master the rules, obeying first and adapting them. That's when you get next. Next step is hierarchy, the ability to obey. This is what I just talked about, yeah. When people do not pass this level of hierarchy at the age of 5 to 7, they don't know how to obey correctly, right? They have a hard time because then they have a hard time understanding hierarchy. They don't understand fully. They have a hard time understanding authority. They often go against. They need to learn that. That's how you become successful as adults. Learning to make decisions, learning to creating. Remember, we talked about adapting. Adapting is creating rules. But even then, there's always somebody who's above. There's never somebody who is like in charge of the whole world. It doesn't work like that. In order to learn how to complete your project, you need to learn hierarchy. You need to learn how to create rules and then follow those rules. Discipline is very important to achieve success. It's one thing all those successful people will tell you. Oh, I think I went to the wrong one, right? Competition. Competition is a recognition of others in the field. It's an illusion. There can be no competition in psychology that the clients will find out professionals by themselves, right? If you're a master, you must stand and shine. The lighthouse does not run after the travelers. The travelers will come to the lighthouse. This is like an illusion, okay? A lot of people have a hard time bringing themselves forward, right? It's truly about the ability to recognize and take one's own place. I belong in this world. I have unique talents and abilities to offer to the world. When a person is out of place, one is afraid of a competition, they reject it. They don't recognize other colleagues in the field. They don't get commissioned, compensated the same way, right? They have a hard time recognizing competition because they're afraid they're going to lose. Because they are not sure what they can offer. What are their talents? What are their capabilities in this what are their unique place in the world? Healthy competition is a race together. The skill to be in the competition is a skill to keep yourself in competition, to be respectful to your competitors, to recognize other competitors, and to recognize that competition is an important component of success. The last step is the last component of a successful separation, the last component of individuation, becoming successful as adults, is knowing the psychology of exchange, knowing the rules of money, having personal movement strategies. This topic deserves a whole separate course, which I will bring in fall 2024. I will talk about the rules of money, the personal strategies of money movement. It's about learning when to move in strategies, when to create strategies, when to slow down. One of the major components of those strategies is when a person moves, there's an attitude that the person has learned in the parental system. children learn about money from their parents. Those attitudes, it becomes a part of their attitude toward money. Those attitudes for most people, it's subconscious. They become norm for person beyond critical thinking. It's a part of their subconscious. It's not just the rules that the parents consciously told their children the way to handle money, but it's strategies that small children saw. They saw how their parents acted toward money, losing money or gaining money, how they spend money, how they look forward to creating more money, how they interacted with money, how they exchange, how they use money to build social relationships or personal relationships. This is how children and then adults later on form unconscious attitude that affect person's relationship with one's personal money. Yeah, part of this module is to work with that. This is what we're going to do in the second session, when we're going to draw the second session. This theory, by the way, for both sessions, okay? That's about it. I am welcoming you to join me on the practical drawing NeuroGraphica sessions that are usually closed sessions. We will work with 2 sessions of drawing. One is to figure out where are we as being successful adults within our individuation, and 2, working with improving, making flourishing, bringing success to the next level within our personal life. Those of you who are watching this in open viewing, welcome to join the course. Beautiful, beautiful, unique, amazing course. 11 amazing sessions. The special introductory price is $188. It's 11 unique, amazing drawing sessions. The theory sessions are additional. Welcome to join. The price offering is $188 for the whole course, which encompasses much more beyond just general strategies and understanding of developmental stages, but truly building a connection and fostering a relationship with your inner child, your inner adult, building, strengthening your connection to your inner father and inner mother. You can sign up. These are my websites, NeuroGraphicaUSA.com, LanaShalom.com. Thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the drawing sessions.